Hey everybody, I'm back here. This is Todd and Barnett. It's about almost 11 o'clock my time, so I'm glad that I'm doing another live stream video here. Um, the reason I'm doing one right now, and I'm not going to spend a super lot of time on this one because in a couple of hours I have a wound care doctor appointment that I have to go to. So I'm gonna, I have to make it to that appointment. It's at 1. Okay, so my my beef is aimed primarily at Gary Johnson, the presumptive nominee who's currently in Orlando at the Libertarian National Convention. And my thing with Gary Johnson is he is nothing but a complete statist bullshitter. And this is a guy who wants to be our standard bearer on the LP presidential ticket. Really? I mean, this is a guy that just wants to be on there. He wants to get it out there in the open. Like, he wants to be president. He wants to do it as a libertarian. No wonder he flunked the smell test the last time around as a libertarian, and he decides to run again. But he didn't make his decision until February of this year to run as a libertarian presidential candidate. I have a gripe about how presidential candidates are coming out. That's a separate issue aside, and I'll discuss that on another live stream, if you will. But my big gripe is what Johnson said in the pre-debate last night, and I touched on it last night when I did my live streaming of this, and I just saw a video of Gary Johnson delivering his speech. Excuse me. And he basically, was referring to William Weld, his Veep pick, of course, who was, sitting right next to him while Gary was at the podium standing. And apparently William Weld, Gary Johnson he's not that impressive. He's a boring speaker. Everybody knows that. And he basically said about William Weld, he's an original libertarian. A fucking gun grabber who's now a member of our party is quote unquote an original libertarian. Really, Gary? Really? This is your candidate, pal. This is your candidate who was governor of Massachusetts pre-Mitt Romney, and he was banning what the media calls assault rifles or assault weapons. He was banning shotguns and rifles and whatnot. He also wants to ban, believe it or not, he also wanted to ban, other types of weapons and place a number of other odd restrictions. And the thing here is, the guy is a snake. He's like a used car salesman or a snake or some kind of like a fraud or whatever. He's I guess what you call it, like a snake oilman or oil snakeman, whatever. I don't remember what the exact term is, but it's one of those two terms. But anyway, you get my point. And this is a guy who really, Gary, William Weld is an original libertarian. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, right. And Jesus Christ calls Adolf Hitler a stand-up, righteous, godly saint. Give me a break, man. And what was very refreshing about that video I saw that's been making the rounds, I saw it on Liberty Hangouts Facebook feed. And what was really refreshing was that the audience booed at him. But what really gets me is at the debate last night, he won the straw poll. McAfee came in third. I believe Perry came in fourth. Why is it that the status always comes on top when it comes to the LP these days? I just don't get it. Can anybody explain that to me? Can anybody please do that? Because I just don't fucking get it. I just don't get the fact that Gary Johnson, who was in Orlando calling William Weld a gun grabber. Well, he didn't call him a gun grabber, but Gary Johnson said, well, he's an original libertarian. My bad. But he's telling the gun grabber he's a libertarian, an original libertarian, and everybody booed at him. Everybody might as well have just given him the middle finger while they were sitting in there. And it's disgusting. Yet he still remains at the top of the polls. Yet he's still, the party favorite. And what I'm wondering is, okay, I know you're supposed to be there to root for your guy, to support your guy, but why, oh, why do you want to support a guy who really is, who's really going to turn on you the second he gets power? And this is, what I get here is, I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. I mean, call me a cynic or whatever. Call me jaded. I don't care at this point. But the fact of the matter is, yet he, everybody in the audience booed at him, but he's still at the top of the polls. Yet, I mean, imagine him going up against Hillary and Trump. Hillary and Trump will cream him. And one of the libertarians said, well, what's he going to do? Sit there or stand up at the podium and look pretty? Really? And I'm going to steal that line from the other person who said here. Is he going to look pretty? Is he going to look good? I don't think so. Do we really need to sacrifice everything in the party just to be like the Republicans and Democrats? If I wanted to do that, I'd join the Republican Party. If I wanted to sell my soul now, I'd do it through the GOP. I'd be supporting Trump. If I wanted to do it even more so with the Democrats, I'd be joining the Democrats and vote Hillary or Bernie. Proudly, might I add. And no, James, you're wrong. This line of conversation and thought is not what sunk the LP for 40 plus years. It's what happened when we choose very shady people in the LP. It started with Harry Brown, even though he was speaking the LP line, but he was lying about it. It also, the LP chose an underdog like Michael Badnarik, and guess what? The guy was an embarrassment because he said some things that would have sunk his campaign sooner if the media had gotten a hold of it. When Bob Barr got the nomination, I got news for you. even people would say, you know what? The guy is a conservative pretending to be a libertarian, and he got the nomination. So did Wayne Allen Root. And lo and behold, even when the LP compromised its ideals and went down the way of both the Democrats and the Republicans, I can tell you right now, it earned less than what the principal libertarians earned at the voting booth. The election results were even worse than what it had been for Harry Brown. And Gary Johnson got what, like 0.99% in the last election? What makes you guys think it's going to be any different this time around? What makes you think that Gary Johnson is going to be the best candidate? I have no love for this guy. And if the LP decides to hand the nomination to him, because he's going to be coronated, everybody knows it. They're going to do their best to coronate this guy. He's not a stand-up guy. What has he done for the party in the last 4 years? He hasn't been around. He hasn't built the party. He hasn't contributed shitloads of money or donated his time and energy and resources to help with ballot access and whatnot. So what is he doing for the party? Why do you guys even think he is a libertarian? What makes him stand out from Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton? I just don't get it, you guys. I just don't get it. Why would you defend him? You know, one other person wrote this morning, or was it last night or this morning, it doesn't matter, said that, this is a guy who has, who is trying to be nominated. We're going to give him the nomination because he's got experience. You know what? A lot of we're supposed to be electing people who are going to be serving the people, not electing people who have experience. Donald Trump doesn't have experience, but you want to know something? He is kicking ass in the Republican Party, and he's getting support in all the primaries. He practically creamed the other candidates who were in line. He's going to be the nominee of the party. Well, actually, he already is. There's no point for them to have a convention because Reince Priebus called it. Guess what? He's the nominee of the party. Well, if that's the case, then why are you guys going along with this charade of a convention? Well, you want to know why? Because it's a beauty pageant. It's a beauty pageant. And that's what the Libertarian Convention is turning out to be. They might as well just have given the nomination to Gary Johnson already, because the convention is being used as, well, we just want to make it look legitimate. Well, you know what? It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because he's going to get the nomination. I don't want him to get the nomination, and I know he's going to get it, and the day he's going to get it, yeah, the audience booed at him, and I'm glad they did. They needed to boo at him. But do you think the supporters of Johnson and the LP establishment in the party really give a rat's ass about that? You think they care? Give me a break. And lo and behold, this is what happens. Politics is a dangerous game. It's sad. It's really, really sad. But the reality is that's just the way it is. And I'm telling people right now, do you really want to sacrifice the ideals and tenets of the party for popularity? Do you really want to sacrifice the tenets and ideals of the party because you want an electable candidate to win? And if you want Gary Johnson, well, guess what? He's going to be the face of the party, and the party's going to have to configure its ideology around Gary Johnson's. It's going to change everything. All I can say, all I ever will say, that Gary Johnson and William Weld are going to cream Peterson and McAfee and all the other candidates in the running, like Mark Allen Feldman, whom I do have a very good respect for. He's a nice guy. He's a little on the boring side, but I like him nonetheless. He's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to talk smack of the other candidates, but I will talk smack of Gary Johnson. I don't care what anybody says. I will talk smack of Gary Johnson because he screwed the party. Well, yeah, he did screw the party over in 2012, but he also screwed supporters like me who had to write his name in the state of Michigan. Now, libertarians are trying to blame that nonsense on the Mitt Romney team and the Michigan GOP, but that was Gary Johnson's fault. He turned around and ran for the hills and didn't help us in the end. We didn't get any support whatsoever. So, that being said, that's the end of my open video of my beef with the Johnson campaign and what happened. I'm glad that a lot of libertarians in the audience booed at him. I saw that video from Liberty Hangout. Awesome. Awesome job. And everybody should give them a round of applause for, they should give themselves a round of applause for doing that. But it's not going to, but that booing is not going to mean anything if it ends up resulting that Johnson wins the straw poll and people are saying, according to the polls, he's going to be their top choice for the nomination. This Kyle Copes guy attacks the other two candidates, Peterson and McAfee, and he says, well, Peterson's scripted, he comes off a little arrogant, yada, yada, yada. McAfee is, batshit crazy, is a drug addict. He's really talking smack about both candidates pretty much. But my man Gary Johnson will win it. So, that's that. Anybody got anything to say about this? Because that's all I got to say on this one. Taylor, you think Austin's going to win the nomination? Do you think that that he's going to beat Johnson? Because the polls don't look very good so far. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe Austin will win. Maybe John will win. I don't care. I'm even though now I'm supporting McAfee. Um, at this point, I also don't care who wins. If it's McAfee, great. If it's Austin, that's fine too. And I'll get back to supporting Austin if he ends up getting the nomination. But I am not going to support Johnson if he gets the nomination. I know I told a couple of people that I would, but I was bullshitting. I wasn't really being honest. I was only saying that just to maintain, some sort of civility on my part. If I had told them the exact truth and they wouldn't like it, then they would be like, so you're going to not support our candidate and not be loyal to the party? You're not going to do it for the party? You're not going to take it for the team? And in actuality, yeah, that's exactly what it'll come down to. If I have to, I mean, at this point, if Johnson does get the nomination, I would rather vote for Hillary over voting for Johnson anytime, any day of the week. Not that I want to support Hillary. Hell no. She's a statist. But the point is, it's sort of like me saying I'd rather have electroshock therapy than to be anally raped in the ass. So, there I say it. Hi, Michelle. Sorry I didn't say anything. So, I'm just being honest. And I'm just saying what I'm saying here, and I'm not going to hold back. I shouldn't have to hold back. I shouldn't have to, make apologies for how I feel about things. People are either going to love me or they're going to hate me. And, they're going to hate me, fine. But I'm going to say what I think is right. And I'm going to stand by it no matter what. Anybody got anything to say? Anybody want to throw in some 2 cents? Any questions? Seen any movies lately? Did you rent a movie while you're in the hotel in Orlando? Anyway, did anybody order any pizzas last night? If they did, no, just kidding. So I guess this is going to be interesting. Taylor, did you see the video? You must have seen the video, dude. I mean, Johnson calling William Weld an original libertarian. Wow. That's like, I'm going to say this once again. That's like the Son of God, a.k.a. Jesus Christ, calling Adolf Hitler a stand-up, righteous, godly saint. That's bad. Johnson calling William Weld an original libertarian. Oh my God. Anyway, that's all I gotta say on this one. So if you guys want to watch the video, if nobody's talking, if nobody wants to do the chat thingy, that's fine. So, I see everybody in here, and thank you so much for putting up with me. I'm a smartass, I'm jaded, but you love me. Even when you hate me, you love me. I'm addicting. I'm like a banana split or a sundae. You guys have your sweet tooths. No, I'm kidding. So I guess this is it. Signing off.